Ladies and gentlemen,
what's cracking, y'all?
We are back
on, is it hump day?
It's hump day.
It's hump
Tuesday.
Oh, my bad. It's not hump day.
day.
It's Tuesday. It's Throwback Tuesday.
And boy, are we excited for this Tuesday. Guess why?
Because we got an amazing guest today.
That is right. Give it up for the incredibly talented,
Hilarious,
charming,
beautiful,
wise,
muy latina,
Sofia Gonzalez.
Yeah, girl.
Yay. Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the show.
I am so excited to be on the show. I'm such a huge fan of the podcast. You guys have the most amazing chemistry. I mean, I know you guys are married, but you guys are you guys are good friends, which is really nice to hear on a podcast. You guys care about each other. You guys are friends, and you guys can have a disagreement but push through it, and like, I don't know, it's just really cool. It's like listening to really good friends.
Yay.
Thank you. That means a lot.
That does mean a lot. We are good friends.
She's my only friend.
I'm the only one. It's okay. We're working on it.
So
I relate to that
now
too.
And you want to apply to be my friend, you can.
We have everybody sign a contract after they leave, just so you know. Just kidding.
A friendship has nothing to do with the
contract.
podcast.
Nothing at all.
Just a friendship signature.
You have to meet for coffee dates once a week. It's okay. I'll be there too.
That's right. Nadia will be there to break the ice, and I'll be there for the friendship.
No, I relate to that too, because my husband and I are just like, I like hanging out with you. And then we, sometimes we get together with other people. We're like, but I just want to be with you and Netflix and the dog, and that's it.
Isn't that awesome?
I know, right? It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But we're also trying to find the balance.
But listen, then you can find another couple that just likes to Netflix and sit with the dogs, and then you guys just sit there like before, just sitting and watching Netflix and just chilling.
To be honest with you, this past 2 weeks have been so nuts. We haven't even had a chance to sit down at night. It's been crazy.
It's been crazy.
It's been nuts. We, just with auditions and Little Man, and I got sick today, actually, this morning.
Yeah, we were going to have you, was it last week? Mm-hmm. Then we had to reschedule because you had a rehearsal for this thing.
Thank you for rescheduling.
Yeah,
of course.
Thank you for being flexible.
My goodness, my pleasure.
So we're excited to dive in and get to know more about you today.
Yeah, girl. We saw you a reel. It is so
we
good.
Did.
I was like,
oh my God.
We Googled you.
That's so funny. Thank you.
You're cool with that?
I am cool with
we
it.
Google everyone.
And you can
I Google
her
myself.
Hey, guilty.
She's like, oh, was that who I saw in my reports?
Like the incognito feature on the computer. Most people look at that when they're looking at pornography, but like I do that because I like stalk everybody in the industry.
What is this incognito feature? Can you put it on your computer?
Yeah, it's on your google, so it's a window you open.
It's a Google thing.
Oh.
And it's just like, it's like your secret, like you searching, nobody knows. And my husband opened my computer and was like, don't look at that. It's not porn. It's just like all my IMDb searches, all my friends searches, Googling, they're real. Like it's
Don't
so
judge me.
Yeah.
I've seen every bio of all my friends in the last 10 years.
Yep,
Unreal.
that's me.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
me.
awesome. I love it.
Which brings me to my first question. Why acting and writing? Why this crazy adventure of a job? What interests you?
Because you were going to school for poli.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Finished, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. As a little girl, I grew up in San Francisco. My parents were in politics, and they were successful. They were coming. My dad worked with Harvey Milk.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and then
love that movie.
Yeah, me too. And also with Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, Governor Jerry Brown. So my family, we came up in this world in San Francisco in politics. Meanwhile, I wasn't even going to school yet, and my parents took me to my brother and sister's school where they were having a magician. And he was like, do I have any volunteers? I sprinted up on stage. And I don't even remember wanting it, but I just like sprinted. Like I didn't wait for him to pick me. I just ran up there.
How old were you?
4
Oh
or
my
5.
God,
Yeah, like
that's
really,
awesome.
really young. Before I wasn't even going to school yet. I mean, I was in pre-K, I'm sure somewhere. But then I just started performing with this magician, and I was hamming it up. Like I was like, "How'd you do that?" And like everyone would laugh, and I'm like, "Oh, I love this."
You're like, that was
Power.
funny. Oh, I can do even more of that.
I was like that boom, and you guys have experienced it, that boombastic laughter that just like it hits your soul. And then I've been chasing that, ever since then. But I was like, okay. And I know you guys are familiar with this feeling of like, okay, I want to be an actor, I want to be a writer, but that's not realistic.
Yeah.
Right.
How am I going to make money off that? My parents are admired and respected in the Latino community, in the community at large. I can't be their kid that's like,
I'm going to go be an actor.
Yes. I couldn't do that to them. So like my mother took me to auditions for a while, and then she was like, you know what, drive yourself when you can drive.
In San Francisco, or were you?
Yeah, in San Francisco, and then in Sacramento. And she was like, when you start driving yourself to auditions. And I'm really happy whenever I have friends who are like, I want to put my kids in acting. I'm like, wait till they can drive themselves. Yeah. Because it's a lot to put a mom through.
It is.
Like, because not only are you having your hopes up for them, you're also driving them everywhere and having to know, like, you know, and when they're 16, I think, at least when it was my turn, I was like, oh, wow, I'm negotiating these feelings with myself. I'm learning how to handle rejection. I'm learning,
that's awesome.
You know, instead of my mom having to go through all these roller coasters with me. Anyway, so that's my little preaching.
That's your little side, but I love that because we agree. We talk about that too with Judah, because everybody's like, "Are you going to throw him in the business?" I'm like, "Nah, man. He can do theater. He can do plays all day, every day if he wants to. When he gets older,
right?
And he understands." Then we can figure that out.
Right.
But that's totally cool.
Yeah. So then I went to go study politics, and I was really good at it. I was top of my class in the politics department at UC Santa Cruz. I was a total nerd, and like we did these stage protests and stuff where I had tape over my mouth, and I'm like, this is a free speech zone. Like
that's amazing.
Like I was like, down with the patriarchy, and like wearing hippie skirts and going to drum circles.
Yeah, you're like burning stuff.
We experienced our first drum circle
in San Francisco.
Was it awesome?
It was awesome. It was crazy, but the park was awesome. It's just it's interesting for sure.
It was unreal. It was awesome. We went there for a sketch fest that she had. Her sketch team.
Always wanted to go to sketch fest. Is it fun?
It was great. It was awesome.
Amazing.
I was just getting out of my first trimester. Yeah. So it was just, I was pregnant. It was weird kind of performing some of the stuff with like my belly. And I'm like,
And we also just came from a 2-week vacation in Israel. So we were in Israel.
Right. We were just tired.
Yeah.
We were exhausted. I got pneumonia. Was it pneumonia?
No, you just got sick.
Oh, I just got sick.
I was like, pneumonia? When did you get pneumonia?
It's leveling up now.
His stories get real.
We're far enough away from
smallpox.
He's like, I had the plague.
I'm kidding.
He's like, I had the plague, right? That's what it was. I'm like, no.
Lung. I had the black lung.
You had a fever.
They say it's amazing I've returned. But I got sick, but we were walking through the park, and all of a sudden, it just happened at once. It was like everyone knew the time and the date, and they were just drumming from like out of the woods.
It was pretty
coming
awesome.
to each other. It was really cool.
It was crazy. It was
There's
awesome.
a couple of fights we noticed too.
Over territory for weed. But all right. But
yeah, I loved it. I loved going to school at Santa Cruz, and I thought that I was going to be the first, young Latina mayor of Sacramento. Like that was my goal. I wanted to do that.
That's awesome.
And so I became a community organizer, and I trained with Dolores Huerta, which was a big deal. She worked with Cesar Chavez and stuff. So it was like I was like part of this history of community organizers, and at the time Barack Obama was running for president, and he was talking about being a community organizer. So I was like, oh my goodness, why am I not happy? Like I would just I would be at.
But you were good at it. But you're like, why am I not like?
Why? But I'm like, this is my destiny. I'm my parents' daughter, and when I would look in the mirror at work, I would hear like this voice being like, "Because you're an actor," and I'm like, "No, you're not."
Take
that back. And so, and my mom's gonna laugh when she hears this, but anyway, here it is. I Googled therapy because I was like, why am I so unhappy? This is the dream. Like I'm living the dream. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Why am I not happy? And this work is important. We were fighting for renewable energy and diversifying the portfolio and energy in California. It was called Prop 7. Anyway, it was a big part of my life. And so I was like, why am I not happy? So I went to therapy, and
so you did. You Googled it and you went.
And I went, and her name was
therapy.
Dr. Donna Hunter, I think is her name. She was amazing. And she was like, okay. I was like, look, I can't be here because Latinos are not into therapy, okay? They think it's all a bunch of
girl,
BS.
they're like, ¿eso qué? ¿Para qué estás loca? Yo te doy algo, ¿para qué estás triste? I'm like, all right, I guess. Never mind, go whip my ass.
Right. So I was like, look, I want to talk to my family, but I can't because I feel like if I tell them this, they're going to be like, how you're ungrateful. I mean, they helped me go to college. They paid for my education my whole life. They gave me this beautiful life. And so she was like, okay, why don't you take the money you're making and take acting classes in Sacramento?
Yeah.
So I did, and I was so happy. Like, I just lived for those 2 hours on Wednesday night.
That's awesome. What was your first class? Like, was it scene study? Was
it was
cold
scene
reading?
study.
Okay.
And
oh my
how'd you
God,
find
Ed
it?
Claudio, again, Google.
Yes.
And
Google.
he was so great. And I should reach out to him.
Google was great.
No, Ed Claudio was his name, and he had this little theater, and it was all people in their 50s and 60s, and I was the youngest person in class, but he was like, okay, Sophia, like, we're going to do some private lessons because you need to learn something. Acting is about using your brain. He's like, you have to use your brain. You could not just memorizing lines and saying stuff and looking cute. Like, you got to use your brain. You got to get smart. You got to analyze these scripts. So he was just like all about script.
I love that.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then you need it the rest of your career, right? Just like analyzing scripts and how to be a good storyteller. And he gave me my first little like 2 lines in a play in Sacramento.
Nice.
And I had done plays before, but I was like, oh my God, I'm in an adult theater company.
But
I have 2 lines, you know?
It's like you're an adult, but it's so, what I think is so cool about that too is like when you come to LA, you can find little gems of teachers, but I think once you get into like the community of actors, there are names that pop up that are just like known, and that's where you want to be, right? But sometimes I feel like those smaller like studios with those teachers that are like the heart of acting, like you just learn so much. Not that you can't learn from like the big names and stuff, obviously, but I don't know. That sounds kind of awesome that he took the time to be like, listen, it wasn't about being Hollywood. It was about teaching you the craft.
Yes. And I feel so bad that like I left and went to Hollywood.
You're like, peace, adios, Claudio. I got bigger fish to fry.
Well, yeah, because essentially after the election, we lost Prop 7, which was a devastating blow. And then Barack won. And my parents, I was like, hey guys, like I got a secret to tell you. I'm an actor. Like, I love it. My mom was supportive about me going to Ed's class, and they were like, Mija, don't move to Hollywood. Here's what's about to happen. We're about to have a really bad recession. Like, you can go in a couple years. Like, why don't you give a couple more years here to the family business? And I was like, that's fair. That's totally true. And my dad took me out to dinner and was like, look, here's the plan, blah, blah. And, like, I just was like, yeah. And then I woke up the next morning, and I was like, I'm going. Yeah. I'm going.
Oh my gosh.
And I made a plan though.
What year was this?
I want to say 2009.
Okay.
Yeah, so 10 years ago, yeah. And I made a plan and I was like, okay, here we go. Google again. Where did Kristen Wiig go to school?
Love that.
And then I was like, okay, Mom and Papa, look, Kristen Wiig, Will Ferrell, all went to this school called the Groundlings. I'm going to go there. I'm going to get an agent in my first year. I'm going to book a commercial. Like, I was just like, here's the plan.
This is what I'm going to do, just so you know.
Yeah. And they were like,
wow.
They were like, how, Mija? You just like extend, you just want to be in college longer, is what they said to me. They're like, you just want to be at college longer. You're trying to extend your party days. And I was like, no, in fact, I swear to God, I'm not going to drink my first year in Hollywood. So I didn't drink. I didn't party. I just
You're like, I just studied.
I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah, I did. I did plays. I like looked up casting director workshops. I sent out probably 200 headshot envelopes with the clear window. Do you guys remember those?
Yes. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh.
For those of you listening, we're in the new age now, but there used to be these, well, there still technically are, but they're not used as much. There's these envelopes that had a clear packaging, and it was the rave. You had to get those envelopes.
So your picture if they didn't want to open it, they can just see your headshot. And they could be like, no, they're interesting enough. Let's open it.
Yes,
Which is so funny if you
it's so
think
jacked
about
up.
it.
Like, imagine any other industry doing that.
Please open it. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do most of the work for you. And you can just see it. Just look for a second. Us actors, I love that. But you're still hustling. I mean, it sounds like all the, community organizing, like it was a big part of that plan. I'm impressed with the Google skills. I've been out here for a long time, and I'm like, I'm just now learning some of this stuff.
But that's awesome. So you went from there. That was the first school that you went to, was Groundlings.
Yeah. So I looked at the walls, and you see all the history.
Of course.
And then Kelly Park was like the school administrator, and she's like, I'm signing you up for an audition. And I was like, I've never done improv. I've never done sketch. So like, that's a bad idea. Cause I knew the stuff. Like I knew that it was what it was. Yeah. And she was like, well, get ready, bitch. I was like, okay.
I love that.
That's amazing.
I still write her like every year, giving her updates. Cause she's awesome. Anyway, so I went and bought Uta Hagen's book and like
respect for actors.
Yes, exactly.
I think it's up there.
I think we have it here. I got like
oh wait, it fell.
Yeah, do you see the holes on our walls?
Yeah.
We came home to a bunch of books on our floor one day. I was like, thank the Lord the dogs were didn't get killed.
We had a bunch of books on a huge shelf up at the top, and it ripped through the walls. So
I'm sorry, you guys.
Yeah,
it's all good.
But that book was up there.
Yes, yes, and I just like I attacked it from like and my brother. Oh my God, my brother like ran drills like New Choice and stuff like that. And
I love
and
that.
then-
Wait, does your brother live out here?
yeah, my brother, he's an editor for Entertainment Tonight, and he does commercials and stuff like that. He's
Awesome.
amazing. He directs commercials. He's dope. My brother's my best friend. I love him. So he was like helping me with these drills, and my sister, and we were playing these improv games that we were finding in the book, and just like just having fun on vacation, just like doing it and committing, and getting a suggestion. And then when I went to my audition, I passed it, and then there was the Groundlings chapter, and it's hard not to talk about that chapter very bittersweetly. Am I going
in
too
your life, you
fast?
mean?
Am I talking a lot?
Hey,
No.
you know what? We'll stop you for like.
No, we love it. So you're talking about
Good.
just specifically that chapter of like Groundlings in your overall life.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because I was like, oh, I'm home. Like
Right.
once I took my first classes and I met all my best friends. I mean, those people were my wedding. Like,
Yeah.
I met all my best friends there. Like, Patty Guggenheim, Cami Bercagular, Laura Hughes, like Jimmy Fowley. My God. So like Navarro Starson, I just like,
yeah,
Always.
Navarro's is amazing.
yeah.
Is he still doing that show?
Jimmy Fowley?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, isn't he brilliant?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
He was a teacher of mine for a week.
Yeah.
And then the show got picked up.
Yeah. I mean, he's like on the other two, it was like recurring. I mean, he's just killing it. But yeah, so I came up with all those people, and I was like, oh my God. And I loved everybody in the office, and I went to the Crazy Uncle Joe shows and all that stuff alone. Like I would just go because remember I wasn't drinking. So I would just like hang out. At the
I need to
theater
hang out. That's amazing.
all the time. And it was like my whole life. And I started a sketch group called the Gym Sketch Comedy. And I, picked a bunch of people that I respected and was like, we're going to come together, we're going to practice. And then
How did you pick these people?
Good class?
Because
Because were you mainly at Groundlings?
yes, yeah. So I just started, well, here's what happened. I was like, this is fucking hard. Groundlings is hard. And
So hard.
it's so hard.
It's so hard.
And then you like, okay, so like the class above me was like Tony Cavallero, Michael Feldman, like these people who were so fast. And like once you pass a certain level, you start to get to do these, like back in the day, they were called WOWs. And you would interact with older students. And I was like, I am so fucked. Like these people are so fast and so good. And like,
Isn't
So
it crazy?
connected, yeah.
so connected and like I remember being like, can I pause? Like I'll never forgive myself because I was like, can I start over? Because I just like was in my head, and then like somebody went, who are you talking to? Who's down there? And like they just got this huge laugh in class, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't leave this scene like until the teacher says so, and like I'm just crumbling.
I just have to keep you standing this mother.
Yeah, and like I'm humiliated. I cried so many times in my car, and I was like, I can't be alone in this feeling. So I just started kind of being like, wouldn't it be great if we went to class and then like the next day we like did the exercises again? Like I rented a rehearsal space and like we just And at this point I was helping my brother bartend, so I was making money there. I was working at Young and the Restless as a background extra, and I was like, I have the money to just rent a rehearsal space, get people who are good and quote unquote bad, like people
learning,
Sure.
right?
and we can just run these things and learn from people like Navarres and like and just be like, okay, this is what I'm missing in the stuff. And I remember like people being like see the fence, like see the area, like if they give you like like a suggestion, like you're in your backyard, see the fence, see the doghouse,
Use your place.
yeah.
It's just you get up there and then you're just like,
And if you're not familiar what we're talking about.
So sorry.
No worries. That's why we're all here. If you're not familiar and you're in an improv scene, all the scenes are made up. So you're on stage with a team, and you're creating an environment, you're creating
or a
relationships
partner
to
or
each
whatever.
other.
Yeah.
And then supposedly through this creation of all these things on the spot, people will laugh. That's the goal, right?
Because you're making stuff up as it comes along. So like you're at Subway or you're at the whatever, the Arco AM/PM gas station. I don't know why would you want to be there, but whatever.
And then when you make up this scene, then you play it out as if these crazy characters with these crazy points of views clash, and then that's where the funny is. And this part of the process that's so hard is when you're learning to do this. You get up on stage, and like they were saying, you see nothing. There's nothing there. There's people looking back at you.
You have
There's
to
other
create it,
classmates.
right?
Yeah.
And there has to be an imagination work that you don't realize is work. You think about it. Even us talking about it, I'm laughing. I'm like, every other adult is like, what? You go to a room and you pretend that now suddenly you're at an Arco and there's supposed to be some kind of funny.
Yeah, and you're like grilling hot dogs on the thing. I mean, whatever. It's crazy. You just have to be so specific to what you're doing, right?
Exactly.
And on top of that, be funny. Be funny.
Yeah.
Be interesting. Have a point of view. And like, Groundlings does not play. Like, I got to go train at iOS and Second City and UCB even. UCB was tough too, but like, damn, Groundlings does not play. Like, and the teachers are tough.
Did you go through that program like pretty much as far as you can go first and then try other places, or did you take breaks?
So like I said, I was on a mission, right? So I was taking everything, getting it, like, starting the practice group, like getting everything I could get my hands on, and moving up through the program pretty quickly because of luck. Because they would be like, "Oh, you're on a wait list," but then somebody would drop out last minute, and I would be like, and I would tell people like in the office, because back then you could, like, if anybody drops out last minute and you need that deposit money, like I had a savings account for Groundlings classes, so like anything that like I was like, if you guys, I'm like, boom, like I'm there. And then I went all the way to advanced. And then all this magic started happening. Like, I was getting callbacks to go for In Living Color. And then I got a call from my manager. I'll get back to this, but my manager called me and was like, "So Lorne Michael saw your character reel and he loved it." And I was like, "What?" Like, I remember exactly where I was. And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, so what does that mean?" She goes, "Nothing. It just means he loved it." And I was like, "Okay." She goes, "So stand by, I guess." And I was like, "Okay." But I'll come back to like how I met her. So then I got the news as I was in my second class for advanced that they were flying me out to audition for Saturday Night Live.
Amazing.
No way.
And so I do my second show and I'm on like a high because all my pieces went really well. And I remember I like went to sleep that night and I was like, this is the best sleep I'll ever have in my life, because it was my sleep. It was like, I did that show. I wrote those pieces. I fucking killed it. And then I wake up the next day and I get the call and it's like, "You're not getting invited to Sunday Company." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, and I just was like, why not? Like, it all went great, you know?
It's also subjective.
Yes.
And just for everyone listening, what's this show? You're preparing a show
For the advanced show.
Okay, so at the Groundlings is a sketch comedy and improv school. And there are levels. And at any level, you can be repeated or eliminated. And so the higher up you go, you actually can get eliminated, like a reality TV show. Mm-hmm. I've always said they should do a reality show.
They should.
Yeah, so you can get eliminated. Yeah. And there's a thing called the Sunday Company, which is the kind of the holy grail, because there is where a lot of agents, managers, casting directors go. And if they see you, you could be on a television show the next day, is the idea. And also the Groundlings main company is where you really want to end up if you're a sketch comedian, because you get to perform weekly, you have a home, you have a theater, your picture's on the wall. It's all, if
awesome.
If you're a funny person, it's the dream, because you're like, I have a home, I have a place where no matter what Hollywood says, I have a place where I will be seen, and I'm doing my thing, and I'm amazing. And they're amazing. And a lot of them are my friends in the main company, and they're killing it. I saw a show the other night that I was like, woo. But anyway, back to my sad story. So I go and I'm like, right before that, I'm in that show that they're going to judge me to get into the Sunday Company. And I did a great job. I know that objectively I did a great job. And then...
Because for that show, are you working on the characters that you did in intermediate for 5 through the door, or do you have to create all new stuff for the advanced?
It depends. Like, I did some of the stuff that I did through 5 through the door, but I also did like new stuff. Like, I did this politician lady who is like, men say women are too emotional to lead, and that is not true. And then she gets a text message that her husband is divorcing her, and she's like, "Oh, okay." And so she has to do her like empowering speech about women, and she's like crying. And see, objectively good. No, I'm kidding. Hello. No, and so like I did some new stuff. Like, I was inspired. I was excited. I mean, you're in that environment, and you're throwing up sketches all the time, and you have an amazing teacher, and you're with these great people, and you're collaborating. And anyway, so I get the call, and I call my manager, and I'm like, I don't know if Lauren's gonna want to fly me out still, because they didn't put me in Sunday Company. And I'm like bawling, and she's like, "Let me call him, but I think you're okay."
He's right.
And then she called me, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
get on the plane." I'm like, oh, thank God. But like, I was devastated, because
how could you not be?
It's a huge commitment.
It's a lot of time.
It's a lot of hope and like effort.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I haven't gone that far. I'm advanced, but I haven't actually done it yet.
Get it, girl.
He just did his first advance.
But congratulations! Get it.
I appreciate it.
Get it.
I'm like, you can get it. I'll get it later. Just kidding. I got to figure it out.
No, it's an excellent program. And then the good news is that like the stuff I learned there, I've been using for everything, like every set, every job, life. It's skills that will serve you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So you don't lose really, and you really don't lose the community if you play your cards right. If you be a class act, which I was, I sent everybody thank you notes. I sent thank you notes to people who said no to me. Like I was sent thank you notes to all the groundlings. I was like, thank you for my education. Thank you for this place. Thank you for, I was grateful.
Yeah.
And
how long do you think it took you to, because I mean, it sounds like that's innately you, but with that devastation, how long do you think it took your feelings to match something that is true to yourself? Like being grateful, but also being devastated. Was there a point where you were able to look back and be like, I was grateful, but I was also heartbroken, but I'm so thankful for the lessons that I learned and the schooling. And did that take long, or is that something that's always bittersweet?
I'm right now, the image that's coming to my head is the night before my wedding, and Patty was in there, Laura was in there, Jimmy Falley was in there, and we're just all like giggling, and David's staying in another room, and I'm just like with all my friends that I met at the Groundlings, and we're playing Zip Zap Zop.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that's when I stopped being heartbroken, because I was like, wait a minute. When I look back, when I'm on my deathbed, and I look back at my life and the beautiful friends I made and the moments I had, like, this is what I'm going to remember. It's not going to be that phone call,
Right.
Yeah, and if you think about it, too, I mean, we kind of mentioned, we talked about this in another episode where it's like, that's what you're working towards, right? Sunday company, main company. But really, one of the things that I've always, even when I've had to apply for grants for, like, the diversity stuff, and I genuinely, what I loved about the program was, for me, because I also did IO, I also did a little bit of UCB. I didn't do Second City. But one of the things that I really loved about that program is it's acting at its core, its character, its point of view. I know UCB is a little different. I think there's different muscles, and I'm sure people can use those. Yeah. But what I appreciated from Groundlings was that it's like, it helps you be a better actor, but even through, so like you said, you leave, even wherever you leave, if you get, advanced enough or whatever, I do, even in lower levels for sure, but I think you take some of that with you. And like you said, like you didn't really lose anything. I mean, because even in that opportunity, like I know people that have gone through Sunday company, and that was supposed to be their holy grail and be the thing that changed their life, and that was going to be their ticket to get that agent or manager or those opportunities, and it kind of didn't always happen. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like giving kudos to what you're doing. Like, you did the class, but you're also doing other things.
Yeah, what forced me to do, because, okay, so then I'm about to piggyback on what you just said. So I went into an audition for Saturday Night Live, which was an amazing experience, and then I didn't get that. So then I was like, wait a minute, all I am is a sketch comedian. All I am is just improv. And now I have nowhere else to go with all of these skills. I have nothing else to do. And I saw it was a business coach. Her name's Annie Bergstead. She's amazing. And she was like, so you need to learn how to act for camera. And I was like, no, I don't know if you saw my character reel.
It's really good. That was in front of a camera. Yeah.
And she was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I know that you can do Penelope Cruz impression, and I know that you can do like these wacky characters, and I know that you can do improv, and I know you can perform live all day. But if I'm casting a show, do I know that you know how to handle a 3-camera set or a single camera set? Do I know that you know how to be subtle and not be huge? And I was like, totally. I've done some short films, like Peep 'em. And she was like, you need to go learn how to act on for television. So I took Killian's commercial workshop. I took Robert DeVanzo's on camera classes. And then I was like, oh shit, there's so much to learn in this business.
You're like, I ain't even done.
And I want to dive into that. But I want to hear about what the audition process for Saturday Night Live was.
Okay.
You just blew right past that.
Well, all right.
Check this show, SNL.
Well, there's this like show.
There's this one show, you might have heard of it, SNL.
And they shorten it. It's actually Saturday Night Live, but they shorten it, take out some of the words, and they slide them together.
Well, okay. So I really wanted SNL. Like, that's what I really wanted deep down. And I knew that when I saw Tina Fey and Amy Poehler do Sarah Palin and Hillary Clinton. Do you guys remember that bit?
Yeah, it's the marriage of both worlds for you.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And so I was like, that's what I want to do. So there was a class that Phyllis Katz taught, and I think she only taught it once, but she was like literally like making your character real. And I spent those first few classes, it was like a 6-week workshop, being pretty lazy because I was boy crazy. And I was like, I'm miserable. Me and this guy broke up. And and so I was not putting my best foot forward. And now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, that's so quintessential 20s self-sabotage. Yeah, like, here it is, kid. Here's the thing you want. Why are you avoiding it? And I'm like, well, because I'm heartbroken. Yeah. So then I remember watching Cammie do like a really good character. And I was like, what am I doing? Why am I not bringing my A game? So I stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning, and like the next class, because she was going to record you for your next class. Not like, it's not going to be your reel. It's just like for you to look at.
Right.
They're finally going to have cameras there. And I was like, oh my God.
Like, I got to get my shit together.
So I stayed up till 5, and I was just like, I'm going to do impressions. I'm going to do, and then, I did it. And then, this guy again came up to me, and he was like, so I'm not a student. Because his character was like kind of like, I was like, what's he doing here? He doesn't like seem to care. He's like, I'm actually a spy for Pam Thomas. Pam represented, Mike Myers, Jimmy Fallon, Maya Rudolph.
No way.
Like she had when they had all gone to SNL, and he's like, and she was like, hey, go to this class and see if there's anybody worth bringing in. He's like, and I think you're worth it.
Hey, you never know, man. That's crazy. What a story.
I know. So I was like, holy shit. And so she was like, I want to meet with you, but like, you need to, your impressions, like from those tape, you got to work on your impressions, and you need to meet with somebody who does them. So I met with this girl, Carla, and she's like, basically go to YouTube, any person. I'm just going to say it because why not, right?
Yeah, why not?
You go to any person on YouTube, and watch all of their clips and start taking notes on what they do. So like, for example, Penelope Cruz, like when she's trying to find a word, she touches her hair like right here. And then she like pauses right before she says the final word. Like she that's how she talks. But like I took like notes and being like,
copious
what?
Notes.
Yeah, what does she do over and over and over again?
It's like you're studying her, like whoever, like your subject.
Yes, and like Sofia Gonzalez, she spreads out and she makes herself really at home because she's the life of the party. Like she's like very big with her arms, and she's all boobs, and then she laughs and she throws her head back. So I was like, okay, like taking notes. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna do these people, and I'm gonna like make sure that they are styled right, hair and makeup. Like I invested in my character reel, and then Pam Thomas was like, that's what I'm talking about. So she sent it to In Living Color and then Saturday Night Live. And then when I flew out, I threw up for a week. I was so nervous.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, girl.
I could not keep food down. My mom came with me, and she was like, Mija, I'm so worried about you.
Like, you can't keep any food down. Yeah.
I couldn't, like, and I love food. And I couldn't, like, I was just so nervous. And like, you check into your hotel, and you're looking at everybody because you're like, are they testing? Are they doing?
Right.
Who's my competition? And it's like, I'm just the janitor lady. Like, chill out.
Right. She's like, you see this mop? I'm like, it's not a prop.
Little did you know she was doing her homework on you.
It's not a prop.
So yeah, then you get there, and essentially, you're put in a room, and I was actually put in Bobby Moynihan's room, and I saw on his wall he had the first time they said his name on Saturday Night Live, so he had the paper, and
that's cool.
And then I just was like, okay, all right, like you're gonna do this, and you're gonna go fucking kill it. And I'm just talking to myself in the mirror, and then they bring you down to this other room where I feel like I'm giving so much away, but they bring me down to this other room, and then right before I went on, this PA was like, by the way, I watched your reel and it was really good, and I was like, you have fans in there, so just like have fun. And then you go out there and you see Lorne Michaels and Seth Meyers. Well, that's how long ago it was. Yeah, and then like you see all these writers and producers, and there's a camera on you, and you're in the space, and And I just was like, okay, here are my characters, and I'm Sofia Gonzalez. And then I said, thank you so much. And then
how many characters did you bring in? Do you remember?
I think I did like 4 original and 5 impressions. They really wanted to see my J-Lo. So I was like J-Lo at a quinceañera.
Oh, girl.
And like, and then I did my first character was a cleaning lady who sees ghosts. So
oh Lord.
Because we had a housekeeper and she'd be like, Mira, Sofia, I saw un ghost. I'm like, what?
You're like scared. You're like sleeping with one eye open at night.
Where's the ghost? So anyway, and then like cried in the stairwell, and I was like, oh my God, like I just did it. And then,
oh my gosh, I want to hug you right now because I'm just so proud of you for that.
Yeah.
Like, thank you.
Like, feel like hearing the story is just like, so like, oh my God.
It was amazing.
So cool.
It was amazing. And then like I got back to my room and Lindsay Shookus was like, Lauren wants to meet with you. And I was like, oh. And then she came back and she was like, okay, he's going to take a night to think about it because he saw a lot of good girls out there. By the way, I was testing with Cecily Strong and Adie Bryant. That was their night too.
All right.
So like he really did see other good women. And then Seth Meyers came in. He was like, Sophia, you're so great. And I was like, oh my God, this is Seth Meyers. And then like, if I could go back in time, I wish I would have played it a little more cool. Cause I was just like, you're Seth Meyers. So I was like, I was like not talking right and stuff.
You're like, Seth Meyers.
Mr. Myers.
Mr. Myers, Seth Meyers. And then waited, and then got the call that they were like, oh, no, they're not going with you. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And then like you cry again.
NBD, I'll just fly back to the West Coast now. Thanks, okay, bye.
Yeah, I was like, damn it, what do I do now? And that's when I went and learned how to act for TV. And then what's crazy is lately I'm like, I don't know if I ever will do characters again, but I miss them, but it's like.
That is so freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
But you work. I mean, please, you're like, you know how to act for the camera. Come on now.
Yeah.
You work. You've been on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. We were watching some of your stuff from Modern Family. Mm-hmm. So you ended up being on Modern Family, working with Sofia Vergara and all that.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy because I definitely wanted to be on Modern Family, and I didn't get it. Like a few times, like I would be pinned and then they would release me, and then you have that heartbreak and then when I got to work with Sarah Hyland and be in that scene, I was like, oh, I know. I think a lot of actors don't realize shows have a musicality. There's a rhythm and there's a music, and you need to study it because if you don't fit in with their music, you could be excellent, but like you got to fit in with the rhythm of the show. And Modern Family's a lot of like, stop. There's like a, and then that's usually the bit, the joke, and so you have to kind of be familiar with these 3 camera sitcoms and stuff like that. So you have to study, and you have to use, as Ed Claudio said back in the day, it's like you got to use your brain, And
I was just gonna say that it's funny. It sounds like, and I think that's one of the things that I've always just kind of thought of, and it's even more so confirmed through the years. It's like. Show business. It's a business. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's, I know so many artists, but they don't learn the business side of it.
Yes.
And I think that what you're saying and what I find so encouraging, even through, you're a smart actress.
Thank you.
Like legit. Like it's like
Thank
you're smart. It's like you're not just resting on your laurels, or you're just not resting on your like looks, or you're not it's a lot of work. I would imagine the work that you put in, it's like your full-time job. Like you're studying things that I think most people would take for granted that they don't. And then I think that that's where you can see the work, and that's where you will have longevity and you will like beat people out. And I mean, there's amazing actors, like you said, but if you don't know the rhythm of something or the genre or the feel or the essence of a show, then somebody who does will get that job.
I know.
And it always interests me too. This is something that I had to learn because I didn't know. I knew nothing about the industry when I moved out here, knew no one in it. And something that is really important to me now is how important training is. Because you can almost be tricked into believing that it's something you have, right? And some people have it, some people don't. But that's not a complete picture of what it is. What a complete picture is what you do have, you chip at, and you make stronger, and you learn more and have more greater capacity to be able to do more things. It's like a lawyer and a doctor go to school for years to be able to do their thing. Us actors need to consider that that's what it's going to take for that longevity, like you're talking about.
And even
the
new
career
stuff.
piece of it.
I mean, think about it, like with doctors. I mean, not to like go on a whole new tangent, but it's like there's new information, there's new science, there's new. Imagine if you went to medical school like 20 years ago, and like you think that nothing has changed in biology or nothing has changed
In
with
our
like
understanding of it.
technology.
Yes.
So the same thing with acting, I'm sure, right? It's like, okay, you can take an acting class, a scene study, but then there's like on camera, and I don't like. What did you? Because I actually studied with Robert too.
Really amazing.
Yes,
I
he's
love him
great.
so
Are
much.
you there now?
Yeah. I'm on his ongoing on-camera scene study class. That's so long, but yeah.
Okay, that's so cool. I heard he has a new studio. I did. I've done privates with him in like a long time ago, and then I did the on camera.
Yeah.
That was just like a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I audited his scene study with a girlfriend that was going to maybe consider taking it.
Do the on-camera one. I always think it's good to see yourself on camera and the little things that pop up as an actor. I think that, like, I blink a lot when I don't know my lines.
Really?
Yeah, like I was like, oh shit, that's such a tell.
You're like, oh my gosh, is that, do I got something in my eye?
Yes.
Here's your drink, sir.
I think I do like, it's like, that is not appropriate for the scene.
Right, I smile too. I've been working so hard not to smile as much. But yeah,
Me too. I got such big teeth.
Yeah,
He
we
tells-
just. I mean, it's so funny. They're just like, don't be yourself.
I know, right? It's so. Listen, I believe that I actually have a short upper lip.
It's false.
No, you guys are beautiful. We're all stunning. It's just
Thank
that
you.
like there's certain things that camera will be like, whoa.
Yes. the
Dang,
camera's
girl.
like, wow.
Listen, just turn a little to the right.
Look who walked into the room.
It's, I love his smile.
I know
goodness.
it's the thing is that like you learn from being on camera, and same with commercials too. Like I love commercials. I think they're the jam, and I wish that more actors just dug their nails into like how beautiful commercials are. Commercials make people cry.
Right?
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, I just, it's
Not
so
the ones
funny.
I go out for.
Maybe they do.
I mean, maybe the casting director is crying. Why can't
But
we
there's
get this?
some that like really touch your heart, make you
100%.
laugh. or
When I
that
was
you love.
pregnant, it's like every other day I'd be like,
Right.
look at that little boy just brought him bread.
Oh my gosh, it was some of the funnest moments.
Like,
We'd
why
be
am I
sitting on
crying?
the couch, and then something would happen. We both. I feel things, and so we turn to each other and we're like, oh, can't.
We're like,
turn the
we're
channel.
in trouble for the rest of our life.
There was one where, like, the other day where this guy, there's like a bunch of dads taking their daughters to a baseball game, and they're all wearing, you're like, look at you, you're already getting this yet.
I'm like, what?
And then he's like, he's part of a private Facebook group where it's like baseball dads, and then and someone said, welcome, you guys look great, and they're both wearing Mets hats. He's like, even for Mets fans. And I went,
What? Like, what? What was that trigger? What was that trigger?
and David's just laughing his
their
ass. And they love their
daughters
daughters so
I
much.
just-
good dads.
Speaking of commercials, I just saw you. Is it what's the one that you're on? Wings? The Wings one.
Wingstop.
Yes.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
oh, there's Sophia.
I think I went out for that one.
You did?
For
Awesome.
Wingstop?
Yeah.
Was it this
Yeah,
year?
with a dude just like biting in. It's like it's like a
Yes.
trippy, like
Yes.
yeah.
I
It's
haven't seen it, but
it's like it's just if you just do. I think commercials are amazing, and I think that you can really show off your acting in them and tell a good story. And
I love the practice in the room.
me too.
You know, because you get far more, or at least I do. I get far more commercial auditions. So whenever I'm there, I'm like, at least I'm in the room.
Yeah.
At least I'm auditioning and
Yeah.
practicing that muscle, because that's a whole other thing.
Yes.
Performing, but then also performing for a role in a room that's generally odd.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, it's awkward. And then yeah, go ahead.
Do you find that okay, so because we've never really talked about this when
Yeah.
I've seen you, but
Yeah.
in like auditions and stuff, have you found that your career has done like a linear, like just like a progressive like up, or
Mm-hmm.
like how do you deal with like the slumps or like those seasons where like how do you like I'm sure that you have them, but I'm just asking because I don't want to assume, but I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
do you feel like it's been pretty like just on?
It's been like the easiest part of my life is my career.
You're like, listen, hold on. It's like, it's a breeze. Difficulty? What's that? No.
I mean, I threaten to quit every other day. Like
Right.
when I see, when I
we're
see,
not the only one.
when I see actors on like nightly talk shows, they're like, "Did you ever think of quitting?" And they're like, "No." I'm always like, "How?" how?
Liar! You freaking liar!
Like I just lose my mind because I mean I could bore you guys with stories of like almost and devastation. I'll never forget when I got really close on and David came home with flowers and I said, I'm quitting. And he goes, okay. And he goes, let's go drink a bowl of alcohol. So we went to a tiki bar and he got me like that bowl.
Yeah, that like you can, like I could probably jump into.
Yes, the one you could jump in. Yes, and we just took straws and I'm crying and he's just like rubbing my back and I'm just like chugging a bowl of alcohol and, but yeah. I threatened to quit. Like I think I threatened to quit like 2 weeks ago. Like I always I'm not like, man, I'm crushing it. It's not until you guys invite me on a podcast that I'm like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I am doing okay.
Absolutely. No, you're definitely doing okay. You're doing wonderful.
That's one of those things that's so hard that I think is hard to communicate to people who are in the business is it's such a mind game, even if you've done a lot of work on your mind. Like I think one of the best advice I ever got before jumping in actually came from this beautiful lady sitting to the right of me. It was, like taking inventory of the fact that auditions do not equal talent. There's so much that goes into whether you get picked for a role. It can literally come down to, hey, you didn't get picked because you reminded someone of their uncle, or you did get picked because you reminded someone of their uncle. There's so many like random pieces to this thing that I love looking at it as collecting no's, because every no is undoubtedly leading you to yes, as long as you're in it.
I need to hear that today.
You know?
I've even thought about like, okay, so for example, if you're playing a funny villain on a show, okay, and you're great, you're killing the sides, like you're perfect, but the show after you has a villain who looks like you won't get the part, because if the program of that night, like that's what the executives are there for, to make sure that it doesn't look too similar.
Dang.
So like the redhead who probably didn't play the beats as funny as you will probably get it over you because they're redhead. Right. And like, so it's not even just, not only are you fighting people's biases or people's like weird crap about like, I don't like their eyelashes, whatever. Like you're now fighting like the rest of the programming.
Right.
And so, like I have to remind myself that all the time. And I think that what's also been really crazy is that you just love to work. You love to, it's what makes you happy. So when somebody says you can't, and you hear it so many times, you forget that you can create your own work. You can go perform on a stage. Yeah, but you're just like, I just want someone to say like, here you go work, go do your thing. Like here's some money. And I think that it's a trap. And so what I've now been learning is like, go get a life. Like I'm so into my husband. I'm so into our dog. I'm so into communicating with my family. I'm checking in on friends. Like I'm actively going and getting a life, because
it's like you kind of have to, or else like it's like how long will you be able to last in that spiral of just crazy? And I mean, like what other job? Because people, this is the way you got to look at it. Every audition is a job interview. Right. How many freaking people go on job interviews on the regular? Like how many people go every week to a mother effing job interview and then they're either, I'm sorry, they're not even told no. Like sometimes they don't even call you. Like it's so funny. He was on hold for a job that technically he would have flown out. I don't know, whenever tomorrow.
He's like, I know exactly what it would have been.
It would have been tomorrow. It would have been tomorrow to Mexico City, right? But here's the thing. Like we talk about, I'm like, man, if we were casting directors or if we were like, running production for a commercial, like I wish that I would hire somebody that would be like, okay, you got these 3 people on a veil, and we're just talking as actors that are annoyed.
Yeah,
so
totally.
I'm like, these three, first choice, second choice, third choice, maybe whatever, and then okay, we went with these other people. You guys just give them a call and like let them know that they've been released, because we're like dummies. Like, oh my god, the phone. Oh damn it, it's my mom. Oh, ignore. It's like you're just checking your phone. It's like, but I don't think that people understand that it's like, and then of course he gets an email like at 7 p.m.
I had an email.
No, you emailed our agents, and then they emailed like way late, and they're like, actually they're moving forward. And I'm like, no duh. Shit's already like cast.
They're flying out tomorrow.
Like they're out. They got their passports ready to go. You ain't going. So it's one of those things where I'm just like, but I don't think people understand that it's, yes, you're auditioning sides. But you're also giving a part of yourself into that role.
Right.
So it's like, you can't take it personal, but then you kind of do, but you shouldn't. But I don't know.
It's a weird balance.
Well, it was so funny when I first married David, and he was like, "Oh my God, like you have all these auditions, like this is so cool." And I was like, "Okay, like you're about to go on a wild ride." I was like, "Don't."
Hold
and
on.
Like, and I'd be like,
Buckle up.
and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm put on a veil," and I would like, and he'd be like, "Oh my God, yes!" And I was like, "Don't tell everybody because like." Anything can happen. He'd be like, okay. And then the next thing I know, everyone's like, I heard you're on a veil for Pepsi or whatever. And I'm
You're
like,
oh God.
And then I'd get it released. And he's like, you didn't tell me that happens. I'm like, yes, I did. Like a veil means like, you did great and you're one of the options, but it doesn't mean you got the job.
Exactly.
So like, and then same with pins. Like, so it's, but also like guys, if we've gotten to this point, we already won. You know what I mean? We're in the game. We're playing the game. We're out there. We're one of the people that people like to see and go like, oh yeah, they bring forth good work. But I have to remind myself that all the time because like I was beating myself about an audition I had yesterday, and I did good work. I did really good work, but I was like, oh, you flubbed that word, and it's like, yeah, like I did one of those, but I was like, really, girl, really? Because when on set you get a few takes, like, like. And you don't think that they know that? Like, you've been at this a long time. So to kick yourself up for saying the wrong, like, I'm sure they have an imagination that you don't say the wrong all the time.
And they've also seen your body of work. I mean, totally. I'm sure, you know what I mean? But it's like this.
It always amazes me when I book something how much the people who book you know about you.
That's terrifying. I'm learning that now.
Isn't that crazy?
It's so terrifying. It's like... Oh yeah, you forget because you go into an audition and it's you and a camera operator for the first audition, and then people come in as you progress. But sometimes it just feels like that's it. Sometimes it feels
like they're the only ones watching you.
Just us two, And then you get to set,
like they made the decision for everybody else at Honda or whatever.
How's your wife? We oh God, how do you know this? And we forget it's
a trip.
It's such an internal and external game. It really is such it messes with your mind if you're not working on it. And I think that piece of having a life is so important. What got you to that? What was the thing that was like, I got to find a life. I got to get myself.
I got to get like plugged into that.
Plugged into it more.
Okay. So the very authentic answer is this. I was like, if I get Sunday Company, then this. If I get Saturday Night Live, then this. Yeah. If I get Modern Family, then this. If I get... And it's like, okay. Like, it doesn't end. And and it doesn't. Like, then what? Like...
There's always going to be that thing. Mm-hmm. And, it's funny because I knew this woman who was an actress for a really long time. I think she was in her 50s and she started doing it when she was in her, early teens. And I used to go to her house to help her with some work and stuff. And it was just interesting. I learned kind of early on, even though I haven't really fully absorbed it all, but I think about it regularly. She was in her late 40s at the time. And I remember her constantly saying I should have done this. She didn't live her life. She didn't have children. She was always waiting for her career to be where she wanted it to be before she actually could. And then now she's she feels like she's at that point where she's like, now I'm too old. I'm not going to go have kids now. I'm almost 50. And it's just, and now her husband doesn't want kids. And it's just this really interesting thing where I look back and I was like, man, first of all, listen, we have a vision, right? We have a dream. We have a thing of what we think our careers can look like, and we should dream, and we should visualize, and we should dream big and hope, but also kind of live life, because our careers might not be like what we think they're gonna look like. They might even be better.
Yeah.
But if we stop living and it's not what we want it to be in 10 or 15 years, and you stop finding somebody to love, taking care of a child if that's what you want, or traveling because you have to be there for every audition and you can't leave, and oh my God, what if this? Then honestly, how are you're going to look back and then be like, I missed out on my life.
Yes.
Right. And my career is not where I freaking want it to be.
Yes. And so I was working with a life coach for a while. And she was saying that the feeling of success, winning the Oscar, winning the Emmy, booking the part, getting the job, all those things, they only last 5 minutes. That high, only last 5 minutes of that, that pure joy of I did it. And then you just become a junkie for those 5 minutes. So you can become dangerous to yourself if you just keep looking for that next fix of my little trophies that I am a good actor and I'm doing it and I'm working in it. And actually children are the biggest possessors of the truth of life and joy, because they're constantly living in the moment. They're constantly, like playing, discovering.
Yeah.
Open to making friends.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, oh man, I gotta get me one of them kids.
Girl, that's what I'm telling you.
Recommend it.
Girl, you let me know. Not like not we're gonna make a baby. But you know what I'm saying?
Baby,
girl, let me know. Like I got them in my back pocket. I can just give you one. No, but when I watch Judah, his watching him grow and be curious and like just take life in, really like. As an actor, especially, that's our job, is to always be curious, to use our imaginations, to play, even as adults. But we get like, damn, I got to pay my bills. I got to do this. I got this thing on my whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I got to go to the doctor. So you adult, like life just kind of kicks you around a bit sometimes, and you lose that play.
Yes.
One of the best pieces of advice that we've gotten has not been from actor friends of ours, but friends of ours who own a business, and they have 4 kids, just had their 4th, and they travel the world, and they're literally country.
Amazing.
And they have a great family dynamic. Their kids are really polite, very kind to each other. They look out for each other. It's really cool to see. And
it's possible, guys.
Yeah, and the best advice that they shared with us regularly is, we decided that our children are not going to change our lives, but they're going to join our lives. We're going to take them to New Zealand. We're going to show them new things. And instead of it being, oh, I can't have a kid because then I can't do that thing that I wanted to do, it's now you get to take that kid and you get to inspire them and show them something cool. And literally not a night, like sometimes we'll have crazy days where we'll both have multiple auditions, and we'll take Judah with us, and it'll be the 3 of us, and we'll do a family audition day.
Yeah, girl.
And like I'm downstairs in the car with Judah. Nadia's downstairs
holding down the fort.
Sometimes we'll take them up to, the audition room, and it's like, sometimes it's really stressful, not to, paint it in the best light ever. Sometimes it's like we forgot snacks. And it's like,
we suck. I guess we can go without eating, but dang.
We can't let our 11-month not have something in his belly.
We got to go to Whole Foods and get some bananas or wherever.
And then on the actor's budget, we're like, great. Now we bought more food. We just bought some from the store to save some money, and now I forgot, and now we're here.
We'll figure it out.
And now we have this audition in Santa Monica at 5 o'clock. And it's...
But you guys know, like, you're never going to be without... like support and love, and because you guys are nice, good people. So
I appreciate that.
But like that's the thing, is I trip out about that stuff too. I'm like, oh my god, if I don't book, this commercial, then I'm not gonna have money to do this. It's like I don't know if that's the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah. And what we've kind of been diving down this year is to kind of take the reins back in. We did this because we love telling stories. Like, we became actors because it's still, when I see a good story, a good play, or a good movie, or I see something really funny, like my eyes still light up. You know what I mean? And it's like when that happens, or when new perspective happens from seeing someone's story or hearing truth about life, it's like you can easily forget that here very quickly. Yeah. You can forget the reason why you love doing it. And then you find yourself caught up in this weird tossing and turning of, you should be doing this wheel, and you should be doing that, and did you refresh your headshots? And no, if you don't do that, you're never going to get into a room. And then all of a sudden you've lost it. So for us, we've kind of been on this journey this year of, why do we love it? And honestly, that's why we started this podcast. That's why we, we're starting doing our own stuff. We just finished writing a short film that I've been working on for a while, and Nad's been helping. And it's one of those things where we're trying to dig back into what we love about it.
Yes.
Because without that, what do you got?
What do you have up your sleeves? Like, what do you have planned coming up? Like, as far as like game plan. I know you wanted to say you want to live life, just kind of live and just.
Well, my husband and I, are doing our own little shorts. They're called Sofia in Color, and they're in black and white. But
I don't think
we haven't released them yet. They're just like little 1 minute, 2 minute little films, but they're kind of based on. Hi, honey.
Did you hear
a very
our
sad dog?
She wants desperately to join us.
I see her paw. So yeah, we're doing those, which has been really fun. And just like making it together and having a blast and making each other laugh. And like, having no goal other than like, this feels good.
That's amazing. What does your husband do again? I'm sorry.
My husband's a producer and editor over at the James Corden show, the Late Late Show.
Okay.
Love that.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's amazing, and he's so funny, and he's such a great writer, and he's such a great comedic brain.
That's awesome.
And so we just have a blast, like making each other laugh, and like he'll pitch me something, and I'm like, I don't like that, and then I'll like be in the like mirror, and I'll be brushing my teeth thinking about the idea, and I'm like, what if they did this too? It's like, and then he too, like I'll pitch something, he's like, I don't know, and then he'll come back and run it like from the shower to be like, I got it.
That's awesome.
So we're having a ball.
That.
We're having a ball making stuff together. And then I started writing a comic book, which I got inspired from listening to a podcast. And it's about
Which podcast?
it's called This American Life. Yeah. And so I started working on that alone, and it feels really good to just like write, female superheroes story and just have fun with it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I just, and then also like, yeah, of course, hustling for that next job. I had booked a pilot this year, and
Congrats.
thank you. And when it didn't go, I had to learn a new coping mechanism, which is to celebrate all the wins.
Of course.
Up until, you know what I mean? Because it's so bizarre, but even if the show had gone, we probably would have been praying for a second season. And if we didn't get a second season, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's like you said, it's always the next thing.
Yeah.
It's like nothing's guaranteed. So it's just be thankful for the things that you can, like for right now, like bank on. And then that's it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I seriously was like, oh man, I got invited to do a podcast. That's amazing. And now I'm just like celebrating that. And I'm really here right now because I can't live for anything else. But I'm like, oh god, this is the win. Like, I made friends in Los Angeles who thought I was interesting enough to want to hear my story.
It's always so great. It's always so great. I'm like, and it's funny because in all the years I've known you, and obviously, we've talked here and there and stuff, but I one of the reasons why I wanted to know Preston too is just to like learn from people that are working, and I love just all the new things I've learned from you today. It's so inspiring just to like see like smart acting.
Well, and I heard you guys on your other podcast with I forget her name right now, but
Jessica?
You guys, yes, yeah. When it's like we're all struggling with when is enough work, and then when am I being lazy? Because this is like, we're all self-employed and like self-motivated and stuff. And I just really appreciate, I just wanted to say thank you for having that discussion, because I think it is something that we all struggle with. Like, when are we doing enough? And when is it okay to just take a nap?
Yes, or two.
I mean, we have a hard, just, being totally honest, we have a hard time even just going to sleep at night. And a lot of it is the FOMO of like, like we've been doing a lot taking care of him during the day. So it's like, all right, now's the time we can get stuff done. And
there's seasons though.
And it's so true.
Think about it. You think about like back in the day, okay, that's kind of like whatever, but like for crops and farming, like there were seasons for things, and then people would like plant like seed and then like harvest. And I think we just are in this culture of like constant. Yesterday Preston came home from work and he was like talking to me about this new technology that Apple's dropping. I don't even know exactly what it is.
It's a new computer. It's coming
and it's
out,
like,
and it's super fast.
It's so fast. It's like you can even, and I said, great. So they're developing a computer so you can do fast work so that you can do more work, so that you can be like super fast and you can just get more done. And I'm like, sometimes I like, do we ever stop to think, is all of this technology really even helpful in the sense that like, is it good for us? Because I think, my sister has this friend who, whatever, this is a whole nother thing and I won't get into it, but she wears these like crazy patches for like energy and shit like that. And I'm like, this is like poison, like for your body. Like, why are you doing like,
it's like a nicotine
it's like basically like crack of like green tea and like a bunch of other nonsense.
Caffeine. And where can I get
right?
Are you guys sponsored by this?
Hold
patch?
on, let me go get
brought to you by this
MLM caffeine that's gonna sell you a bunch of shit for so you can go forever, like the energy. But my point is, it's crazy because my sister's having some health issues, and I was like, listen, you're tired. Sometimes your body's telling you need to back the truck up. Like you need to back it up. You need to maybe cross some things for a season, cross some things off your calendar, let some things go. But the answer is like her friend's like, well, you know, I got this patch and it just makes me feel amazing. And I'm like, but at what point are we not listening to our bodies? And we're pushing them past the point because we can use like a stimulant. Like, and again, like I'm not like saying I'm anti-caffeine. I don't have coffee, whatever I do. I think there's just, like you said, we were talking, it's like at what point do we say, listen, we can sit back and say, take a rest and take a Sabbath and like in a way and say, and look at the work that we're doing and say, and it is good.
Yeah.
And like genuinely, and not, it is good. It will be good, but I got to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a time for that, right?
I agree, because I think I'm a bit of a workaholic, and we're going on vacation, and I just told my husband, I'm like, can we just no work? Because otherwise, it just never, there's never, you're
Where are you going?
We're going to Italy.
Nice.
Hey.
Ciao.
We're going for 2 weeks. We're going to Rome, Milan, and Bologna.
Oh, girl.
I keep calling it bologna, though.
Probably
Girl,
where it
I'm going to eat so hard.
When's that happening?
We leave on the 15th.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
I love that. Now, we've thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you, but
Thank
we
you.
do ask all of our guests a couple of questions.
I'm so excited.
5 questions to be exact.
Okay, go.
And on our last podcast, we only asked 4.
And we thought we did 5. So
We
let's
thought
go
we
there.
did 5.
First
Number
question.
1.
If you could be any animal, which animal and why?
Okay, I would be a leopard or a jaguar or a lion. I want to be like really powerful. Is that your screensaver?
Yeah, it's a
Heck
lion.
yeah. I used to say like a bluebird or like a puppy. But now lately in my 30s, I'm like, you know what? I want to be a very scary cat.
I love it.
Right? You don't want just the one that's like, meow, meow. You want one that roars.
Yeah, I want people to be scared of me.
I love it.
Awesome. Question number 2. If you can eat any food and just one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Spaghetti.
Ah,
Spaghetti with mozzarella and fresh tomato cut.
Awesome.
I love spaghetti.
Can you make good spaghetti?
Yeah, I make a killer spaghetti.
All right.
that's awesome.
Good to know.
Spaghetti's good. I
love
like spaghetti.
And it's like when you're an actor, you can't have pasta and bread. And all
You gotta have that like spaghetti pasta. That's spaghetti squash pasta. That shit ain't not pasta.
It's not pasta.
It's just like mushy squash.
It's like I would do anything for pasta. Okay.
I love
3. Celebrity crush.
Oh, I thought about this really hard. Well, I'm a fan of your podcast, so I was thinking about this. Jeff Goldblum
Yes.
and Sam Rockwell.
They're both so good.
Yes, girl.
I just like a nerdy like dancer. Like Sam Rockwell's such a good actor. I'm like, woo.
Girl, mine is Bill Hader. So let's not even go there. They're like, how is yours Bill Hader? I'm like, leave me alone. He's funny and he makes me laugh.
Barry is very good. You guys love Barry?
Yes.
Yes.
He's so good.
It's so good.
So good. He's so good.
The other one was, if you can be any superhero, which superhero would you be?
Okay.
Or superpower, if you don't know a superhero.
So I loved Rogue as a kid, which is an X-Men, and she can like touch you and take your power for a while.
She has like the
Is that Holly
The
Berry?
streak. No, that was
No.
Storm.
Oh, my bad.
But I also love
Close.
Mystique Jennifer Lawrence, the one
Yeah.
who's blue and who can
Yes.
transform into anybody. So I think I would take one of those. Like I like Mystique. I mean, I'm an actor, so I like playing somebody else and pulling it off.
Awesome.
Nice.
And your last one is, if you were not an actress, and I might know what you're going to say, but maybe not, or doing anything in the entertainment industry, what would you be doing for work?
Well, I want to know what you think I would do.
No, you go for it. Well, the only reason why I said this is because I didn't know this fact about you and your passion for politics.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you would want to do something in that sector, or if you have found something else that you might think like, actually, I'd like to do this.
I feel like the answer is coming right now is like, it's show business again, but I'm like, I would love to be like a Broadway dancer.
Yes.
She's like, hey, well, it's kind of in the different genre.
hey, technically we asked you if you weren't an actor, so that works perfect.
You'd be a dancer.
Yeah, I'd be
dancer.
like a dancer, like that wears all black and is like cha-cha-cha.
Chicago.
Chicago, yeah, Chicago, exactly.
You said dance twice. Do you love to dance?
I do love to dance.
Are you good?
No.
What? I don't believe it.
I don't believe
Girl, I'm no Laker girl like you.
Girl, please don't even get me started, okay? They kicked me out. They were like, girl, where you come from? I was like, San Bernardino. Leave me alone.
Your guys' stories, the Disney story made me laugh so hard too. I guess I wish I would have done singing and dancing, so I could be like a triple threat. Yeah, I wish I could have been like a cha-cha-cha-cha.
I know, girl.
But yes, in the terms of politics, I think later in life, I do want to be some kind of activist, something.
Yeah.
I want to make sure. In long term, I would love. My dream is like to open a theater for kids that are financially struggling that can learn things that we learned at the Groundlings in Second City and
I love that.
and just like be funded with grants and just like be like, okay, you guys are getting all this education for free and it's going to serve your life. Like you don't have to become an actor. Like this is just going to make you a better human.
Better tools.
That.
Yeah.
Give you a community.
Give you a community. You'll never forget like making each other laugh. And I want to give that to kids that are most likely like would never get it. That's the long-term plan.
Yeah.
Just to serve, just kind of give service back. Yeah.
I love that.
It.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I love you even more now. It's been so amazing to have you,
Thank you so much for having me.
And you know, before we wrap it up, it's technically like a 6th question, but it is something that I like a lot.
Okay.
If you were talking to either yourself when you got started or someone who's listening to our voices now or seeing us on YouTube and saying, I want to be an actor. I want to do this. I know we forget, right? What would be your biggest like nugget of advice? If you can boil it down to one thing that's important, what would you share to either yourself or someone like you?
Make sure your 20s are about 20% having fun and 80% about doing work.
Love it.
I love that.
I did so much fun in my 20s and I did work hard, but like, damn, I could have time managed more and like done more casting director workshops, know who showrunners are, executive producers. Like actors aren't the only important person.
Yeah.
There's so many people doing amazing things and like learning about the writers. Like, I don't know, just spending more time on.
That's part of the job.
Yeah. And
part
like,
of the business, the show business.
But I was 20 and I was like, but I want a boyfriend. And like, I
want to go to Saddle Ranch. That was
Yeah.
me, girl.
I want to party and like, oh my God, what a waste. Sorry.
So if you hear our voices, snap out of it.
Go
it's a
get to work. Get out of Bernie's Beanery. Leave now.
Go to a class that teaches you time management. Get it?
Absolutely.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of a wonderful podcast.
Yeah.
Sophia, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
for
time.
having me, guys. Thank you.
We are so happy to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. Nod.
We did it. We out. Peace.